Hello everyone, welcome to, I just wanted to try a new kind of video and do a progress update on how this project's been going and just kind of take a closer look at some areas and be able to show them off and be transparent because it's not that I feel like I haven't been transparent, I just haven't been making a lot of content and I want to give y'all just a closer look and show actually what the process looks like, what I have been working on, because I just feel like posting, kind of a video here and there doesn't really give you a huge idea. So let's take a look at the Faron region. We're just going to kind of hyper zoom on that. Just because this is loaded into, we'll just kind of take a look at this first. Even though I don't really want to focus on this, just because there's a lot left to do. But you see an area like this. This is Ice Ring Isle, as you can tell. And I had to basically recreate the top of it from scratch because I didn't have a rip for the island. And I think it turned out pretty well. It's not perfect. I'm still kind of figuring out some things. Something I like about it is that, you turn the water on. I have this basically flood layer that turns into like the regular Wind Waker map, right? And then you get all that like inner water appears at just the right level. But then I turn it off and boom, now it's, it's the top of the mountain. And you can see there's some geometry missing, right? This freezered, it's freezered, right? Its model was actually taken from the interior of Ice Ring Isle, and I've used several of the textures from the interior as well, which you may recognize. So yeah, and there's a lot of other things I want to do here. I want to use this area to elicit something along the lines of like Snowpeak ruins. This is a little trivia for you. That's just a little something I have in my back pocket. Still a lot of work left to do, but just kind of want to give you all a taste. There's this area that I've kind of carved out below the mountain. I think it'd be really cool to have like a village that's like hidden underneath this snowy mountain. Spoiler alert, I'm kind of thinking of putting in like an Anuki village. If y'all know Anukis from Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, I think it'd be really cool to put them in the world of the Wind Waker. I think it's cool. And I think that this kind of space will be like a good kind of spot for them. It's just like the one cold region. And you can see that I've kind of hyper isolated the cold region. You can see by turning that off. That's also kind of part of the original map too. And it does like elicit different ideas, and you can kind of feel that like for this mountain specifically, maybe this is more just meant to represent like an icy, like a snowy peak, like you see of the mountains of like Colorado. But I kind of thought it would be fun to kind of take that as like, no, let's just kind of isolate this region and say that there's some kind of cold spell over it specifically. Because I think there's so much to do with a snowy / ice land, and it almost feels like cool mountain. There's still some work to do on it, but I just wanted to kind of give you all a peek of that. But let's focus on the Faron region. So you may be wondering, I'll go ahead and say why the rest of the world isn't loaded in. So I have it separated by different regions of Hyrule. There's the Eldin, Faron, Necluda region. This is kind of Necluda, but I put it in Faron for technical reasons. Central Hyrule, Gerudo, and the Fairy Islands have their own group, which isn't necessarily necessary, but it just kind of kept them together. So yeah, this is the Faron region, and there's parts of this that are very barren right now. I think this is going to be Stone Watcher Island, and there's still some work to do on that. The end of it is going to be Shark Island, and I've just started working on that and kind of putting in the basic shapes of like what Shark Island is supposed to be. That's another one that like I had no rip like model to reference, so I'm just like modeling it myself, and it's pretty simple geometry. It just means that like there's things I'm kind of approximating, and I think that this will be close enough, and as I add in trees and vegetation and stuff, you'll start to get a better look at it. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to show you that. Of course, what's standing out here is the Colosseum. Let me turn on Central Hyrule 2 for a second, just to kind of show you what this looks like in the context of the larger, greater Hyrule. And I really like just this view, the Colosseum with Hyrule Castle behind it, and with Lon-Lon Ranch right beside it. And there's still some kind of work to do on this area, but this is the view from Lon-Lon Ranch in the style of the Wind Waker. And the thing is, like, part of why I've been waiting to show this off is because of how much work there is to do. There's so many missing spots in the geometry. So there's a good bit of work left to do. You see all the stuff that's missing over there, but that's how it goes. I don't know. But I want to just like be transparent about that and show you all that, like, yeah, there's still a lot left to do, but there's also still a lot to show off. So I'm gonna turn off Central Hyrule right now just to save on memory. Let's take a closer look at, I mean, it's right here. You can't ignore it. There's progress on the Great Plateau. And there, I mean, by progress, I use that word lightly. But you can tell that, something I'm excited about is that this is where the Diamond Step Island is, which you can see I've, kind of started to model over here. I think some of those textures are sideways, so I need to fix that. But that's the hardest part, is texturing, right? It's the most annoying part. But yeah, this is Diamond Step Island. If you remember that in the Wind Waker, that's where you go in this hole at the top, you come into this cavern, and you find the ghost ship chart, I think. And I really like the idea of that being on the Great Plateau. You can see this kind of rough model of the Temple of Time using assets from Hyrule Castle. I'm okay with how that looks, but definitely like comment down below and let me know if you'd rather me just kind of model it from scratch. Because this is just very much like a kit bash kind of thing, and you can tell that I'm just kind of pulling models together, and you know, it could be interesting to kind of like use the textures, but like model it from scratch. Because this does just very much, it looks like the bridge, archway, and I don't know, like I don't mind how it looks, and I think it'll work for now. But like, is it distinctly the Temple of Time? I don't know. Comment down below. Just wanted to kind of show that off. But what I also like about it is that, so there's these walls of the Great Plateau, and how these were made. Let's see if I can show you the plateau wall. Yeah, so there's an array modifier here. So what I did is took the Tower of the Gods, and I took that model and kind of like took one part of the circle, kind of like shape that it is, kind of cut it out, kind of duplicated it, kind of stretched it until it was like a wall with like layers like you see here, and extruded, you know, as necessary. I also added a part of the bridge to the top of it. So the idea that you could walk along the wall and try to do that the right scale. And you can see if I turn on this, that it's, I also figured out a curve system. So just by turning the array modifier back on, the wall follows the curve. And I really like how it turned out. And I think it's a great kind of detail that uses like assets from the original Wind Waker game in a new way. And I'm very proud of how that turns out. You know, and there's a lot of other kind of things like that. I mean, that's how the Colosseum was made as well. It's the same exact thing using the same exact Tower of the Gods asset, but they're both different structures using similar architecture. And I like that. I like what that adds. And yeah, I mean, Lake Hylia, this is another obvious kind of thing to look at, but there's still so much to add. And there's actually a lot of missing stuff as well as far as geometry goes. You look here and like the bridge doesn't fully connect to the cliffside. The bridge doesn't even fully connect to itself. There's holes in the bridge. But I think that, you know, when I figure kind of that stuff out, I think it'll end up looking pretty good. So I really like how high up it is, and I'm excited to kind of like get some angles where it's fully finished and I'm down below and I'm looking back up at the bridge and it's as high as it is. So I think I like the general kind of blocking out of the area. But yeah, to finish up, let's just take a look. There's nothing to see here for the is that the Earth Temple? Yeah. No, not much to see there, but let's look at Outset Mountain, right? That's what we're going to call it. We'll turn on the dojo. That's what I call this area. And I don't know, like I've shown this off in previous videos, and I don't know if it looks janky to y'all, but I like it. So this dojo's here. I've put it under a cliff. I don't know. I kind of like the idea of that. Like it's protected by this cliffside, right? Kind of out of sight. And I like the idea of it's like a bunch of orcas training rooms, right? And I don't know, like they are kind of just like smashed together here, and maybe I could do some work on like, instead of just making it look like a copy pasted asset, like maybe this is like a courtyard with some extra details, right? And I can kind of play with that. Because that is something where I am copy pasting a lot of assets, but like at the end of the day, I want to do more than that. I want it to feel like more than that. It's a creative exercise, and definitely anything that can highlight that, I think is a good thing. I love the little like added bridge detail in front of it. So So I don't know. I think that that'll be a cool kind of area, maybe with a little more work put into it. Yeah, it's the dojo. There's a little ranch in front of it. I like that idea. A little mountaintop ranch overlooking. You can see the Great Plateau and Lake Hylia from there. Yeah, let's just take another closer look. I've shown off Outset Mountain is what I call it, right? I've showed it off a couple of times, so I don't feel the need to really go super in depth with this. But I just wanted to end the video by just giving you all a closer look at some of it. And I wonder if, let me turn on the particle system in the viewport. And is there a children system? Nope. So am I seeing trees? This should be, why am I not seeing them? Oh, it's, look at this. Particle sources. Boom. Right? That should do it, in theory. Excuse me. You know, I call myself an expert. I don't call myself an expert, but is that why? I'm just trying to, I want y'all to be able to see the trees that are here, and they show up in the render. I don't know why they aren't in the viewport right now. I feel like I should know off the top of my head. Anyway, that's kind of embarrassing, but we'll figure that out later, perhaps. I would love to figure it out now. Or maybe they are showing up. There's just not as many of them. Yeah, look at this. So 500. Yeah, no, there's trees in the system now. Okay, excuse me. There's just the number of them was lower. So let's actually boost it up because it probably needs to be more. And I need to fix stuff like that, little glitches. But yeah, I mean, there'll be like tree assets because I knew that there would be some like around here. And definitely when I'm like finalizing the geometry, I'll make sure that there's no jankiness with like the trees. So, excuse me, the C to 69, and I can't change that. But, but you see how like as the geometry changes, the placement of nature changes, and I don't want to like fix like something that looks kind of glitchy if it's gonna like end up like if I'm gonna, you know, if it's gonna change because of the geometry. So there is stuff with the trees and stuff like that like they change kind of often. Just because it's based on vertex groups, so I can't like fully figure out some of the more glitchy areas that they spawn really until I'm done modeling the area. But yeah, I mean, all this to say, this is just how it looks with all the trees, and just wanted to kind of give y'all just a taste of that. Yeah, this is Outset Mountain. I think it's really cozy. Let me I'll turn that off just for now, and I want to show you all the render view of this because I think it is beautiful. With the sky behind it. I'm really proud of how this has been turning out so far, and I hope that y'all are excited about the future of it. I'm excited. I want to post more and give y'all more looks behind the scenes because I'm very excited about the project, and I'm excited just to get some views of standing on, you know, this hill overlooking Hyrule and seeing the world beyond. So, I don't know. Comment down below any ideas that you have. I'm all ears. I would love to hear them. And yeah, definitely comment any thoughts, questions, concerns, ideas. You know, I've been very encouraged by some of the responses I've already had on some of my videos. That's kind of what's inspired me to post more. So I definitely want to thank you all for how much love I've seen. And I guess the final thing I'll say in the video is don't be afraid to subscribe to my main channel. I do a lot of filmmaking, and if you're interested in creative short films, I do some sci-fi stuff. I do a lot of other CG stuff. If that interests you, feel free to subscribe. And yeah, I do music. If you any music that you've heard in this video is probably mine. Go to my Spotify, search Joe Kendrick. It's all there. So thank you all for watching, and like and subscribe, I guess.